Hey everybody, welcome back. This is going to be a project video, and in this video we're going to build a tally book cover. These are really popular items, especially in the oil field. A lot of these guys will use these tally books just to jot down notes and different readings and things. Also, farmers and ranchers can use these in their pickup just to keep track of birth dates on calves, things like that. They're just something handy to have around. They're a neat item to make a great gift. It's also a great item for our leather shop because we can put to work a lot of our scrap leathers and they can go together really easily. We've made these for years in the saddle shop. They were a very popular item for us years ago, but honestly, we made ours a little bit too complicated. We'd line them and we do special pockets and little T pockets in there for other things. This one is very simple, and instead of reinventing the wheel, I hollered at our friends over at Maker's Leather Supply and I said, hey, you've already done it and you've already created a template. Let me get one of those templates and I'm going to do a video, and we're also going to do a companion tooling pack like we've been doing for a few of their acrylic templates. But instead of me making another pattern and a whole new video and things, I just used their acrylic templates in this video to put this together. It worked out really good. Aaron's got this pattern dialed in really well so that it's not too big, it's not really large, and it fits their tally books that they sell on their website. So if you're looking for a source to get these, you can certainly get these at Maker's Leather Supply as well. And you can also grab his acrylic templates while you're there. But we're gonna hop right into the video and I'm gonna show you how easy one of these are to make. All right, so I've got my scrap bin here, just got a bunch of 5/6 chunks in here, just bigger pieces. So we're going to go through here and try to pick some. If you're going to pick out of the belly, like some of these are belly pieces, just make sure it's nice and firm. You don't want something that's kind of flanky. There's our acrylic templates there. This template pack is very easy. There's 3 pieces: the main body, the pocket, you'll need 2 of those, and then one little business card pocket, which you could opt to not do that piece, but I think it's a nice touch. I think it makes it really nice. But we're just going to trace those off and cut those out so that we've got all of our pieces. I'm going to cut this out of the 5/6. I'm going to cut the pocket pieces out of a piece of 3/4 scrap, just so they're a little lighter weight. All right, so this is a piece of 3/4 ounce leather. I went ahead and dropped down, like I said, on weight just so that those pockets are a little lighter. I didn't want them quite as heavy as 5/6. We're going to cut those out. Now, his pattern, he does have a little curve right there on the top edge of the inside of the pocket. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a half round punch there, just so that we don't have to try to make that turn with that little razor blade. And so, or your knife or your head knife, if you're using a round knife and you're good with it, you can probably get that curve cut a lot easier. But I find using one of these punches just keeps things nice and consistent, and it's a lot easier to cut this out. Okay, so we're not going to line this piece, so we need to get it prepped for tooling, and we're going to use blue painter's tape here. It's kind of my go-to just to keep it from stretching as we're tooling. If you're not tooling this, no need to do that step. There's all our pieces there, and there's our pattern pack. There is a link down in the description if you want to get this off of our website. It is a large format print, so if you purchase the digital version, just know that you're going to have to take that somewhere and have it printed. But we'll go ahead and get this laid out. We're going to choose a pattern and we'll get it transferred to the leather and get it tooled. I'm going to show some of the tooling, but not all of it as usual. We do have other videos on tooling specifically, but we'll show that process here some. All right, so I'm just using regular tracing paper here. You certainly could use vellum or mylar, tracing film from Tandy, anything like that. I'm just using regular tracing paper, and I think that works just as good as anything else for a one-time use. It's not going to last over multiple retracings, but this is fine for this. So now we're going to go ahead and wet this down just a little bit. You don't want to over wet it. We just want it to have enough moisture content in there to be able to take the impression of the pattern as we're transferring that. I'm going to use my pencil as a stylus, but I want to spray that down really lightly and then just let it set over there and kind of dry out just a little bit before we put that tracing paper on top of there. And this leather has had a chance to kind of air dry just a little bit. It still has plenty of moisture in there to be able to transfer the pattern, so we'll get that lined up, and we're just going to use our pencil now and go back over all those lines and just get a good impression on there. It should be plenty to be able to see so that we can carve this in. Okay, so now we're going to set our border lines. Remember, you always want to use a set of wing dividers to set your border to the project. You don't want to use the lines that you traced off of the pattern. You always want to set those with a set of wing dividers. I'm going to come here and put a few little marks here just so that I know where the center spine is going to be, and those marks are where we will use the wing dividers to set that border to. And so now I'll just take a straight edge and we're just going to connect those points across from each other to make our inside border there of where our spine's going to go, and that'll be ready to carve in. Alright, so now we're going to get everything carved in, get everything tooled. Again, we'll show some of the tooling, but we do have other videos devoted just to tooling. In particular, I would mention our mini tooling series video deals on our YouTube channel. I think there's like 3 or 4 different ones, so you can search those and we'll go through step by step what we do in the tooling process. But we're going to get this tooled up right quick. All right, so we've gotten all our tooling done. We'll let that piece dry so we can do our finish work. While that's drying, we're going to go ahead and do all of our edge work on our pockets. On this is the business card pocket here. I'm going to go ahead and edge all the way around it with a number 2 edger, and I'm going to slick the edges all the way around it. As far as the other 2 pockets that are actually going to hold the tally book in there, you just want to edge the top edge, the inside edge of that. The rest of that will sand and edge after it's sewn together. So we'll get that edged, number 2 edger on all those, and then get those edges slicked. We do have a video on how to slick edges as well. You can go back and check that out. All right, so I went ahead and just did a dark brown dye job on this piece here. I thought it turned out really cool. And I just did a just dyed the whole thing. I have a video I'm working on that's going to show different dye applications and how to apply dyes in different ways. But now we'll just pull that painter's tape off and get that off as well as possible. Be sure and pull the tape, not the leather, so you don't create any wrinkles on the finish of that leather. And now we'll kind of line our pockets up. Want to make sure they fit. We may still see a little bit of stretch out of that, but it should be still fairly close. That tape does a good job. We're going to center this business card pocket up on one of the pockets there, and we'll go ahead and center it up. We're going to apply glue, set it down, pick it back up, and let that glue get tacky, and then we'll glue it in place and sew it on the machine. All right, so now I'm gonna take my pockets. I'm just gonna measure that width at that top point there, just so I know how far in I need to bring glue on the back side of the body of this thing. So we'll go ahead and on each corner we'll measure across and we'll put a mark. That's gonna tell us where our glue needs to stop. We'll get one little coat of contact cement on all of those areas, on the pockets as well as the body. Let that get tacky and we'll glue those in place. Hey, one quick note on applying glue on this project in particular. This tally book is dialed in really close so that it fits these tally books without too much excess at all. So be very gentle with how much glue you add to these pockets. Don't put more than you need just to hold that pocket in place while you sew it. Because if you put too big of a path of glue around there, you're going to have a hard time fitting those tally books in there because it is dialed in really close, so it's got a really good fit. So you don't want to get too crazy with your glue and glue too much of it down. So now we've gotten our pockets glued in place. Now what I'm going to do is just take my pencil and I'm just going to mark where the pockets end there on the top and the bottom so I know where to start and stop my stitch lines. I'm not going to sew all the way across there because that's just single ply 5/6, and sometimes you might see your bobbin top or bottom on something that thin unless you're consistently sewing that thin. So we're just going to take our groover here and groove us a stitch line, and then we'll carry it to the machine and get this sewn. All right, so that's all sewn together. Now we're just going to take our sanding block or your sanding device of choice here, and we're just going to sand, edge, and slick all the way around the outside here. Make sure you do a nice job of getting that even and smooth, and doing a nice job on your slicking, and that way it looks really good. And then we'll be ready to put dye on that if you're going to dye your edges. All right, so I've already let the edges dry. We went ahead and put some dye on those edges there so that it matches the rest of it. There's our little tally book, and we're gonna go ahead and get ready to install this. And so what we wanna do is take out a spike awl or a rub stick or something and just break any glue loose inside there that may have gotten past where your stitch line is. And so you just wanna rub that in there. Don't get too aggressive and tear your stitches out or anything, but just wanna run that around there to break that glue loose. And then we'll be able to insert the actual tally book. Now I've got a way of doing this that I figured was pretty easy, but if you'll kind of put it like that, and then you get one side started, and then go to the other side, start that side, and you might have to wrestle it a little bit just because it's trying to get all that in one place there. Get those tabs started, or the outside of the book, and then if you'll just kind of take your time and just ease that in straight as possible, and don't let it get bound up, and it should slide right in. And then you should be able to open or close the book, and it'll set it where it needs to be. So our business card pocket, same thing as we did on the other pockets. You want to take your spike awl and just break any excess glue loose so that those cards fit in there nicely. You can probably fit 4 or 5 business cards in that little pocket there. It's just a nice touch to this tally book, and we're all finished up with this. All right, so that's making a tally book cover. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to these. You've probably already tried to make a few of these. Again, these are really popular, but you can make 4 or 5 of these, throw them in the pickup, and be on a job site or at an event or something, and somebody's always going to want to pick one of these up just because they're handy to have. Again, you can get these inserts at Maker's Leather Supply. You can also get the acrylic templates. Like I said, I just went ahead and grabbed the acrylic templates from him. No reason for me to try to pattern them all up. His pattern works, as you can see. It really fits this book really nicely. There's not a whole lot of excess. I remember ours that we used to do, they were a little bit bigger, maybe too much bigger than the actual tally book insert, and so they were just kind of bulky. We also overbuilt them. This one goes together a lot better. It's got a lot better feel, just comfortable, and it's a great use of scrap leather. So if you've got scrap 5/6, 3/4 sitting around, stuff like that, this is a great project to make some of these, and you don't even have to personalize them. Just make some and you can sell those fairly easily. And so as you saw in the video, we did come up with a companion tooling pattern pack that goes along with this project for Maker's Leather Supply. So this doesn't have all of the template patterns in there. So if you want the patterns, the full pattern to make one of these, then you need to get the acrylic templates. But what this is just the some accessory floral patterns that you can use along with this project, just like we did for the billfold and the breezy clutch of Aaron's at Maker's Leather Supply. So that's what we're working on, a few of these, adding a few more of these to the website, just to kind of help folks out that have the templates from them, love making the projects, but want some cool artwork to put on there. That's what these are for. So if you're wanting that, we'll put a link down in the description for this, as well as the acrylic templates and the inserts that go in here, or the actual tally books that this project's made for. But it's a great project, had a lot of fun with it. It's a great use of scrap leather and a great beginner's project. So if you're just getting into leathercraft and you want to try your hand at making a little book cover, one of these is great, or like a field note book cover. He's got one of those, so do we, as far as pattern and video and things like that. But these little, any kind of little book covers like this are a great way to kind of stretch your skills just a little bit, but they're probably easier than making a belt or a knife sheath. They just go together really easily. So give this project a shot. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see y'all in the next project video.